What's up, Lush? How's it going? Hey, Wing Chun, how's it going? What's up, Benjamin? Nice of you to join. All right. Can we get the games over super quick? What's up, Nikki? How's it going? Bum, 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 bum. All right. Oh, no. Okay. My mirror. Minion. Mittens. Hmm. Moi oil. Moil. Mold. Moi. Hmm. Ominous. Ominous? Dominoes? Um. Hmm. Lim. Emo. Limo. Limo? Bimbo. Bimbo. Oh! Limbo. Gimbo? Kimbo. Fimbo. Dimbo? Dimbo? Is that a word? Gotta be limbo, right? Yeah. All right. So Casey, how's it going? Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Well, K-pop Demon Hunter. Okay. I haven't watched that, but I hear it's good. Complex as a centaur. Ah, she's being cheeky here. Big bear, bugbear, uni. I hang up, liar, capri. Okay. As a I. B, A, B, K. Uni. A demon, a centaur, a bugbear. What's another? Seems like a kind of RPG character. A hunter, a big bear, a bugbear. Nothing? Centaur, demon, centaur, hang up. Do you have a hang up? Do you have a complex? Do you have a demon? A uni? What? Uni brow. Asbrow. K-brow. K. Like okay. Okay. A. No. B. I. A. What? Capri Sun. Uni for university. K. Pop. Liar. A liar. Wait, what? What the hell? Complex. Complex. Uh, oh my god. I don't know any of this. As a B I. Oh, that. One away. It's gonna be K. No? Fuck! Uni? One remaining. Ah! Pop? B as a. Like articles? B as a. As a B? Uni. Like prefixes? Ah! Ah! Okay. The fuck is this? An affliction, a bugbear, a complex, a demon. Oh, I was on the right track. I didn't know bugbear was an affliction. Represented by constellations. Oh my god. Oh. Capricorn, popcorn, unicorn, acorn. What's up, Psyduck? How's it going? Nice of you to join. Nice of you to see my failure. Corn? Oh, come on. All right. Maybe we can get through this. So many ads. Ad. Corn. Read. Stuff. Go. Do. Stone. Fly. Do. Doing. Done. Step. Animal. Flake. Action. Achievement. Walk. Why does my cursor keep disappearing? Walk. Run. Jump. Acquire. Get. Hi. Cursor. Ooh. Mouse. Key. Board. Computer. Graphics. Advance. Blink. Blink. Wink. Eye. Mouth. Oh. Nose. Forehead. Eyebrow. Wait. Eyebrow. Why does my cursor keep disappearing? Is it these ads? Stop. Wait, it said skip ad and then it plays a video. But this is an ad, right? I skipped an ad to see another ad. Blind. Eyes? Okay. Plural is better than singular. Eyes. Hair. Hairs. Brows. Cheek. Make. Center. Eyes. Blink was up there. Wink. Cry. Tear. Nostril. Sight. Like vision? No. Glasses. Like eyeglasses. Eyeglasses. Dilated. Oh. Like pupils. Oh, microphone did die. Sorry. Uh brows. Brows. Jewels. Like the crown jewels. Crown. Bowels. Hips. No. Maybe it's somewhere up. Upper body. Upper looks. How about attraction? Face. Head. Eyes, eh? View. Looks. Iris. Stare. Stare. Watch. Listen. Nose, we try this. We try sight. Case. Observe. Vision, I think we tried. Observation. Insightful. Watch, we tried. Glare. Gaze. Gaze. Blindness. Gaze. To see. Saw. I imagine. Mind. Eyes. Focus. Stalk. Swoon. Notice. Observe, watch. Let me try those. Hmm. Scope. Spectacles. Spectacles. Monocle. Okay. Eyes, gaze, looks, see. What else do you do? Why is it 3 of the same ad? 4! There's 4 of this Mint Mobile ad. Gazes. Gazes. Scrutiny. That's a good word. Witness. Bulge. Eye bulging. Socket. Sockets. Smile. Expression. Eyes, gaze, looks, eyes, color, view, like world view, views. Camera. Camera. Oh, photo. Photograph. Aha, image. Image. Picture. Okay. Lenses. Memory. Picture, a still photo, a drawing, illustration. Picture, a glimpse. Snap. Like a snapshot. Screenshot. Painting. Picture. Beautiful. Photography. Painting. Okay. Getting closer. Photo, we tried image, we tried PNG, graphic, GIF. Is it GIF or GIF? GIF, right? Polaroid, imagery, animation. I like that. JPEG. It's not peanut GIF with a... Are you sure? Didn't the guy who made the GIF format said it was GIF? Or did I make that up? Scan, can. Picture A. Picture light. Lights. How about pictures? How about gallery? How about an album? He said that, but he's wrong? How can he be wrong? He's the guy. Lens. Visual. Lens. Wait, didn't we do lens? Lenses. Oh, we did contacts. A lens, a filter. He should have pushed the pronunciation from the start, but he didn't. So he's wrong. I see. Laser, window, glass, pane, mirror. Ah, mirror. Of course. Makes sense. Good job, guys. Picture eyes. I guess eyes works. You're telling me he was a guy who made the format and his word doesn't count. Is that what you're saying? Did the guy who made the GIF format pronounce it? What? GIF. Steve Will, high creator of the GIF format, insisted is SoftG. His intended pronunciation was a deliberate nod to the Jif peanut butter brand. Why? He failed? This is your opinion, it seems. He wanted to? Wait, this is AI. I'm not sure if it's correct. Okay. Get to the bottom of this. Will. How do you spell his name? Will. No. Steve. Oh, Will Height. Oh, he even said it's pronounced Jif. If the guy who invented pants said they were meant to be worn on your head, would he be right? No, but if he said it was pronounced pants, then we would be calling it pants. So Steve Wilhite gave a speech at the 2013 Webby Awards arguing for the soft G. Others have pointed to the term's origin from the abbreviation of the hard G word graphics. He failed his invention. I've always said GIF. GIF just sounds weird. Will Height and the team development format. Okay. Polling. Okay. Oh shit. I lost. 57% of users use a hard G. Come on. Now, who are these psychos? Now, who are these psychos? Pronounce each letter. GIF. Those people should be put in an institution. I've never heard anyone say GIF. Okay, well, I guess most people prefer GIF. Go figure. Joe figure. The people who pronounce each letter would be the Chinese. Losh, do you say GIF? I sent you that JPG. Mm. The same people that pronounce LOL as LOL. LOL is LOL. What do you say? LOL? Maybe GIF as a compromise? Maybe GIF as a compromise. GIF is even worse. It's the worst. Wait, Nikki, did you say LOL? Do you say LOL in real life? I gotta be honest, I say LOL. LMAO is Lamau. That's how you say it, Lamau. Lambao. Every acronym you say each letter. It's Lamau. Some people say Lameo, which is like Le mayonnaise. It's so stupid. Lameo. Lamau. Yeah, it's Lamau. Lameo. Yeah, that's weird. That's quite funny. That's quite Lameo. How do you say ROFL? Raffle? Raffle. The only acronym you can slightly pronounce is DGAF. DGAF. Dugaf. Lameo. Or wait, what's LMFAO? Limphao. Limphao. Lymphao. Lymphao? I've never said that in real life. I never said Lameo either. Lamau. Lamau? I've never said that too. You just laugh in real life. Sometimes it's like it doesn't deserve a full laugh. It's just like a teeny mini laugh or a proto laugh. So you would say lol. So it's like a little bit. Like, huh, it's a little clever. Or, you deserve something, but not a full laugh. I'll just say lol. Then you'd giggle, chuckle, or smile. It doesn't deserve that either. It's like even lower than that. It's just a lol. Lol. All right, but anyways. Look what I have today. Ooh. Speaking of fancy, LeMayo. Ooh, look at that. Looks pretty cool. It's not bread. Okay. Some kind of a cake. Oh, what does this say? It's monachi. Monachi manchio. Manchio. Manchu. Monachi manchu. Right? Expired in 2017. Let's see. No, you're wrong. Wait. No, you're wrong. Expires in October 17th, 2025. Oh! Oh, God. It's been 3 days. Momichi? Oh, this is me? Is that na? Momichi? Oh, I knew that. Eat it fast. I gotta eat it so fast that I go back to the past. Yeah. It's like the movie Back to the Future. Alright. Yum. Ooh. Oh, red bean filled. Yum. Hmm. 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 Yeah, my mouth is too dry. Maybe it's because I'm drinking tea. Hmm. Okay, you know what? It's just normal. It's like a regular cake with some regular red bean. It's alright. It's gonna be a 6.8. You know, I think tea is not good to drink when you're like reading. It's not good for voice acting because it dries your mouth. My mug is cute. Oh, you like that? It's a little teacup, but all right. My mouth is dry. I don't know if I can call it GIF, guys. I think I need to stay with GIF. Lamau. It's a G, yeah, but I know it's a G. But together with the IF, it's just GIF just sounds better. Like GIF. It's not food. I never said it was food. It's just GIF. What if I had a GIF of peanut butter? All right. GIF is already food? Okay, I'll think about it, okay? All right, what happened last week? Last week, you know, the group we're following, the group of like Wu Santong and Madame Wu and the family and the daughter and the cousin, they go hide in this old like pottery kiln place. Li Mocho arrives, okay, attacking them, but Guo Fu, she arrives, okay? Remember, she's Guo Jing and Hong Rong's daughter. She sicks the two eagles on Li Mocho. Li Mocho is like fighting them. She hurts one eagle. She wounds a couple of people, and then she snatches both girls and tries to run off with them. But just then, this teenage boy comes and he tries to stop her. Apparently, he was staying at this pottery kiln place. But she runs off with one girl, Lu Wu Shuang. The other girl, Cheng Ying, she runs after them. But they run into this green robed stranger. Okay, he appears. He looks like a corpse. He tells Cheng Ying to hit Li Mo Cho. Now, Surprisingly, Cheng Ying is able to slap Li Mocho because the stranger uses this technique to flick like pebbles at Li Mocho, like interfering with her attacks. So his power level is pretty high. Li Mocho sees that she's no match for this guy, so she runs away. But then she shoots these poison needles into Cheng Ying's shoulder. Okay, then she runs off. This man, he picks her up and carries her away. The boy from earlier, he also runs after them. He's kind of curious, and he picks up those needles that Li Mocho shot earlier that are on the ground, and his hands turn black. Right, so apparently they're freaking poisoned. A man comes walking on his hands upside down, and he says he'll help the boy if the boy calls him father. Now this guy is obviously Ouyang Feng. Ouyang Feng is kind of a little crazy these days. Probably because of practicing the weird martial arts. So the boy, he doesn't like. Well, he doesn't want to die, so he says, "Okay." He calls him father. Um, so that man, Ouyang Feng, he teaches him this technique to like invert the flow of qi or something, and it works kind of a bit. Okay, so the black poison blood seeps out of the boy's fingertips. And just then, two eagles fly overhead, and the man freaks out and he runs away. Guojing and Hongrong, they arrive. They're older now. They treat the boy's hand and the eagle's wounded leg. Guo Fu, she made fun of his black hands and calling him dirty. And so the boy is already in a bad mood. When Guojing tries to help him, the boy tries to run away, but Guojing stops him. The boy looks kind of familiar to Guojing and Hongrong. And then Hongrong, she figures out who it is. She figures out it's Yang Guo, the son of Yang Kang and Mu Nianzi. And that's where we left off. How's that? Smart inventor, poor marketing. What about GIF? Because they bring the GIF of joy, the gift of joy. GIFs, yeah, GIFs do bring the gift of joy. There's no J in it. You know what? I'm going to call it Biff from now on. Just to piss you off. I'm going to send you a Biff. Don't forget Young Guo was able to outsmart Guojing into calling him dad. Because we can never forget that Guojing is dumb. True. Binfamy? I call it Lif. Linfamy. Jiff. Zhuojing. Zhuojing, Zhongzhong, and Zhangzhuo. All right. Are we good? Chapter 2. Wait. Yeah. Part 2. JPEG, that's pronounced Gpeg. Obviously. The boy was indeed Yang Guo. Hearing his full name uttered so suddenly, he was shocked beyond measure. His blood surged violently, and the poison within his body rushed back upon itself. A wave of dizziness struck him, and he collapsed in a faint. Startled, Zhongzhong caught him in her arms. Guojing massaged his chest several times, but the boy's eyes remained tightly shut. His teeth had bitten through his tongue, blood filled his mouth, and he did not awaken. Guo cried out in mixed alarm and joy. He's Brother Yang Kang's son. Seeing the poison run deep in young Guo's veins, Huang Rong whispered, "Let's take him to an inn first, then I'll compose a prescription in town." Huang Rong had recognized the resemblance between the boy and young Kang as uncanny. She recalled how years ago, in an inn at Zhongdu, Wang Chuyi had tested Mu Nianzu's lineage by placing a hand behind her neck. That's how you do it. Instead of stumbling forward, she had fallen back, exactly the hallmark of Hong Qigong's unique breathing method. If this boy were Mu Nianzu's child, his martial training would undoubtedly follow the same line. As Hong Qigong's disciple, Hong Rong understood every secret of that discipline. Her light test had indeed revealed his true identity. Guo Jing then carried the unconscious young Guo, together with Kujanu, Huang Rong, Guo Fu, and the two giant eagles. They returned to the inn. Huang Rong wrote out a prescription, and the waiter went to the pharmacy to gather the ingredients. Yet her remedies were so uncommon that even in bustling Jiaxing, the herbs could not all be found. The herbs? Seeing young Guo still in a deep coma, Guo Jing grew increasingly anxious. Huang Rong knew that ever since young Kang's death, her husband had never ceased to feel remorse. Now, finding his friend's son by chance filled him with joy. Yet that very child lay near death, stricken by venom. She said, "Let's go gather the herbs ourselves." Guo Jing understood that she would soothe him if there were any hope at all, but her solemn expression only deepened his unease. He sternly instructed Guo Fu not to wander outside, and the couple set out to search for medicinal plants. Young Guo remained unconscious well into the night. Kujanu came to look at him several times, but could do nothing. The toxin from the poisoned caltrop differed entirely from that of the ice soul silver needle. Their antidotes were incompatible. Afraid Guo Fu might sneak out, he kept coaxing her to sleep. Young Guo did not know how much time had passed when he suddenly felt someone massaging his chest. Slowly regaining consciousness, he opened his eyes and saw a shadow flash. Something had darted through the window. Forcing himself upright, he leaned against the table and looked out. Upon the roof, a man stood upside down, head down and feet up. It was the same strange fellow who earlier had told him to call him father. The man swayed precariously, as if he might fall at any moment. I think they're going to have a beautiful friendship, no? Young Guo shouted in joy and surprise. "It's you!" The man said. "Why don't you call me father?" Young Guo called out, "Father!" Though inwardly he thought, "You're my son now. If the father becomes the child, then calling you father suits me just fine." The strange man was delighted. "Come up here," he said. Young Guo climbed onto the windowsill and leapt toward the roof, but his body was weak from poison. His hands missed the eaves, and he fell with a startled cry. "Ah!" The strange man reached down, caught the back of his collar, and set him lightly upon the rooftop. Turning himself upright again, he was about to speak, when a sudden whoosh sounded from the west room. A candle had just been blown out. Knowing he had been discovered, the man scooped young Guo into his arms and sped away. When Kujanu leapt onto the roof moments later, the night had already fallen silent. Carrying young Guo, the strange man ran all the way to a deserted wasteland outside the town and set him down. "Use the method I taught you," he said, "and force a bit more of the poison out." Young Guo followed his guidance. After about the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, a few drops of black blood seeped from his fingertips, and the tight ache in his chest eased greatly. It's working. The strange man said, "You're a clever one. Learn in a word what others take 10 to grasp. Smarter than my own son was in his youth. Ha! Child." Thinking of his deceased son, his eyes grew moist. He stroked young Guo's hair and sighed softly. Young Guo had grown up without a father, and his mother had died of illness when he was 11. Before her death, Mu Nianzi had told him that his father had perished at the Iron Spear Temple in Jiaxing, instructing him to cremate her body and bury the ashes outside that buried temple. Young Guo obeyed her last wish, and ever since drifted alone about Jiaxing, taking shelter in a crumbling kiln, surviving by petty theft. Bells for Mu Nianzi. Okay. What if he finds out that he's Yang Kang's son? Don't know. Would he care that much? I mean, Yang Kang is like terrible, but only for like the people that he interacted with. But who killed Yang Kang? Hmm. So he calls a man father who is responsible for the actual father's death because his dad killed the son. Yeah. Oh, but he. Oh, you mean what if Oh Young Fang finds out he's Yang Kang's son? Aha. Oh, true. Oh, that's gonna be a good scene. Wait, so we don't know how she died, right? Do we? Did they say? Oh, died of illness. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, true. Alright. Young Guo obeyed her last wish, and ever since drifted alone about Jiaxing, taking shelter in a crumbling kiln, surviving by petty theft. Though Mu Nianzi had taught him a few rudimentary forms, her own skills were limited, and he was far too young at her passing to learn much. In the years that followed, young Guo suffered the scorn and bullying of others wherever he went. When this strange man, a complete stranger, treated him with genuine kindness, his heart was deeply moved. With a leap, he threw his arms around the man's neck, crying, "Father! Father!" Since the age of 2 or 3, he had longed for a father who would love and protect him. Sometimes, in dreams, he found himself nestled beside a kind, heroic figure, yet always woke to emptiness and tears. Now, suddenly, having a father before him, the ache of years poured forth with those 2 cries of father. All mockery and pretense were gone. Young Guo's heart trembled with emotion, but the strange man felt even greater joy. When they had first met, young Guo had been forced to call him father, full of unwillingness. Now their hearts truly touched. They were as close as real father and son, willing to even to die for one another. The strange man laughed wildly and shouted, "Ha ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! Good boy, good son, call me father again." Young Guo obeyed, calling twice more and leaning against his chest. The man chuckled. "Ha ha ha! Good boy. Let me teach you the proudest skill of my life." He crouched low, croaking three guttural sounds. Ribbit, 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 and thrust both palms forward. There came a thunderous boom as half a mud wall before them crumbled into dust, sending dirt and plaster swirling through the air. Young Guo stared wide-eyed, tongue out, wonder and delight mingled in his gaze. "What kung fu is that? Can I learn it?" The man replied, "This is called toad stance. If you work hard at it, of course you can master it." Young Guo asked, "If I learn it, will no one bully me again?" The stranger's brows shot up. "Who would dare bully my son? I'd flay his skin and rip his tendons." This strange man, of course, was Ouyang Feng, the Western Venom. Ever since he had been driven mad by Hongrong's trickery at the Mount Hua contest, Ouyang Feng had roamed the ends of the earth for more than 10 years, endlessly pondering. Who am I? Wherever scenes felt vaguely familiar, he lingered long, hoping to find the fragments of himself. That was why he had remained in Jiaxing these past months. For 10 years. It's been just wandering around. In recent years, by practicing the 9-yin manual in reverse, his inner power had grown immensely, and his mind had become somewhat clearer. Though still eccentric and half-crazed, many old memories returned bit by bit, save one. He could still not recall his own name. Now Ouyang Feng began teaching Yang Guo the introductory method of the toad stance. This technique was among the most formidable in all the martial world, subtle, profound, its internal cultivation extraordinarily perilous. One misstep could cause severe injury, or even death by internal backlash. For that reason, Ouyang Feng had never taught it even to his own son, Ouyang Ke. But that night, in a surge of emotion and semi-delirium, he ignored all caution and imparted it to his newfound adopted son without restraint. Yang Guo, with no foundation in martial arts, memorized the teaching by heart, but could hardly grasp its essence. Clever and quick-witted by nature, he twisted what he didn't understand into his own improvised versions. No, is that healthy? After half the night of such muddled instruction, Ouyang Feng grew irritated at the boy's nonsense, none of it making head or tail. He raised a hand to slap him, but under the moonlight saw the boy's face, strikingly handsome, even more charming than Ouyang Ke had been in his youth. His hand faltered midair. Sighing, he said, "Hey, you're tired. Go rest now. I'll teach you more tomorrow." Since Guo Fu had called his hands dirty, young Guo had taken a deep dislike to her and her entire family. He said, "I'm going with you. I'm not going back." Ouyang Feng, though confused about his own identity, was perfectly lucid about most other matters. He said, "My mind's not quite right. I might bring you trouble. You go back first. When I figure something out, I'll come find you. Then we two, father and son, will stay together forever. How about that?" Since his mother's death, no one had ever spoken to Yang Guo with such kindness. He stepped forward, took Ouyang Feng's hand, and choked out, "Then come for me soon." He just wants a father. Ouyang Feng nodded. "I'll follow you in secret. Wherever you go, I'll go. If anyone dares bully you, I'll break 70 or 80 of his ribs. With that, he lifted young Guo and carried him back to the inn. Kujanu had come earlier to check on young Guo. When he found the bed empty, he searched the inn from end to end, but found no trace of him and grew alarmed. The second time he returned, young Guo was already back. Ke was just about to ask where he had been when a rush of wind swept over the roof. Someone was leaping past. He knew at once that two martial experts were crossing above, and quickly scooped up Guo Fu, setting her beside young Guo on the bed. Grasping his iron staff, he stood guard at the window, fearing the strangers might return. Indeed, the wind came again, swift and close. It was upon the rooftop in moments. One voice said, "Look, who's that?" The other answered, "Strange, strange. Can it really be him?" They were in fact Guo Jing and Huang Rong. At that, Kujanu relaxed and opened the door for them. Huang Rong asked, "Master, is everything all right here?" "It's fine," he replied. She turned to Guo Jing. "Could we have mistaken the man?" Guo Jing shook his head. "No, I'm almost certain it was him." "Who?" asked Kujanu. Huang Rong tugged at her husband's sleeve, signaling him to keep quiet, but Guo Jing would never conceal the truth from his teacher. "Oh, young Feng," he said. Kujanu's face changed color. The name alone stirred his deepest hatred. In a low voice, he said, "Oh, young Feng, he isn't dead?" Guo Jing replied, "On our way back with the herbs, we spotted a shadow flicker past the courtyard wall. Quick and strange. We gave chase, but it vanished almost at once. From the look of his movements, I'm sure it was Ouyang Feng." Kujanu knew how steady and honest Guo Jing was. If he said it was Ouyang Feng, then it could be no one else. Still worried for young Guo Jing took up a candle, went to the bedside, and saw the boy's complexion rosy, his breathing calm, sleeping soundly. Overjoyed, he called, "You wronger, he's all right now." But young Guo was only feigning sleep, eyes closed, secretly listening. He faintly caught the name Ouyang Feng and realized that these three clearly feared his adoptive father. The light flickered inside him. Hong Rong came to look and was greatly astonished. Earlier, the poison in the boy's arm had been visibly spreading, but now it should have darkened and swollen far worse. Yet the venom had somehow receded. A mystery indeed. She and Guo Jing had spent half the night gathering herbs, but still lacked several ingredients. Crushing the few they had, she pressed out the juice and fed it to him. The next day, Guo Jing and Hong Rong, together with Kujanu and the two children, left Jiaxing and traveled southeast. They decided to return to Peach Blossom Island first and cure young Guo's injury before anything else. That night, they lodged at an inn. Kujanu and young Guo in one room, the Guo couple and their daughter in another. Near midnight, as Guo Jing and Hong Rong slept, a sharp crack sounded overhead, followed by Kujanu's loud shout and the crashing of breaking glass. He had leapt through the window from the neighboring room. Startled, the couple dashed to the window and looked out. On the rooftop, Kujanu was fighting fiercely, barehanded against a tall, long-limbed man. It was none other than Ouyang Feng. Guo Jing was alarmed, fearing that in a single move the old master might lose his life. He was about to leap up to help when Kujanu let out a roar and fell from the roof. Guo Jing flashed forward, catching him just as his head was about to strike the ground. Seizing his collar, he lifted him gently and lowered him to safety. "Master," he asked, "are you hurt?" Kujanu said, "Not dead yet. Go. Stop Ouyang Feng." Guo Jing said yes and vaulted onto the roof. By then, Huang Rong's palms were flashing in rapid succession. She was already locked in fierce combat with her old enemy of over 10 years past. Her martial skill had advanced greatly, her inner power was strong, and her palm techniques wondrously agile. Within a dozen moves, Ouyang Feng had not gained the slightest advantage. Oh, she's hella good now. Guo Jing called out, Master Ouyang, I hope you've been well. Ouyang Feng said blankly, What did you say? What did you call me? His face was full of confusion. At that moment, he faced Huang Rong's attacks only by defending, not striking back. Yet, deep inside, the words Ouyang faintly stirred something close and familiar. Guo Jing was about to speak again, but Huang Rong saw at once that Ouyang Feng's madness had not yet healed. She shouted quickly, Your name is Zhao Qian Sun Li, Zhou Wu Chen Wang. Ouyang Feng blinked. My name is Zhao Qian Sun Li, Zhou Wu Chen Wang. That's right, said Huang Rong solemnly. Your full name is Feng Zheng Chu Wei, Jiangshen Han Yang. She was rattling off surnames from the 100 family names. Ouyang Feng's muddled mind grew only more confused as she recited dozens of surnames in a breath. Who are you? Who am I? He demanded. Behind him a voice suddenly roared. You're the venomous fiend who killed my 5 brothers! Before the words ended, an iron staff came whistling through the air. It was Ku Zhen-e. He had been knocked from the rooftop earlier by Ouyang Feng's palm force, but unhurt, he had armed himself with his iron staff and come again to battle. Guo Jing shouted, Master, be careful! Ku Zhen-e's iron staff was already crashing down, the tip no more than a foot from Ouyang Feng's back. Then a whoosh sounded. A rebound of inner strength flung the staff backward, unable to hold on. Ku Zhen-e lost his grip and tumbled into the courtyard below. Guo Jing knew his master would not be seriously hurt by the fall, but if Ouyang Feng seized the moment to strike, his follow-up attack would be deadly. He cried out, Here, take this! His left leg bent slightly as his right palm drew a circle and thrust forward. Kanglong Yo Hui, the dragon soars with regret, one of the 18 dragon subduing palms. He had practiced this technique day and night without cease. Even at the beginning, it was extraordinary. After more than 10 years of cultivation, it had reached perfection. At first, the palm seemed to push softly and lightly, yet upon meeting resistance, it could instantly unleash 13 waves of reinforcing power, each stronger than the last, layer upon layer of unstoppable force. This was a refinement he had derived from the 9-yin manual. Even Hong Qigong in his prime could not have matched such mastery of this single move. Ouyang Feng had just sent Ku Zhen-e tumbling from the roof when a faint breeze brushed his face. The wind itself was gentle, yet its pressure choked his breath. Dire portent, indeed. He crouched and thrust both palms forward, using his proudest technique, the toad stance. The 3 palms met with a dull boom, both men's bodies quivering. Guo Jing's power surged like crashing waves, one pulse after another driving forward. Ouyang Feng croaked gutturally, with guttural sounds from his throat, his body rocking as if about to fall. Yet the stronger Guo Jing's force grew, the greater became his own counterforce. After more than 10 years apart, the 2 old rivals had crossed paths again in the south, and now each sought to test how far the other had advanced. Back at Mount Hua, Guo Jing had been far from Ouyang Feng's equal, but since then his skill had ripened into full mastery. Ouyang Feng, though he practiced the 9-yin manual in reverse, had made progress of his own. Still, righteous triumphs over aberrant, and this time they were evenly matched. Huang Rong, intent that her husband prevail on his own, stayed aside to guard the flanks, not stepping in. The rooftops in the south are unlike those of the north. In northern lands, houses must bear the weight of winter snow. Roofs are solid and thick. South of the Huai River, though, the tiles are overlapped lightly, favoring flexibility over strength. Guojing and Ouyangfeng stood locked palm to palm, their power channeled through their legs. After the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, the roof beneath them began to creak. Suddenly, with a loud crack, crack, crash, several rafters broke at once and a gaping hole opened. Both men fell through together. Hongrong gasped and leapt after them. Below, the two still pressed palms against each other, standing on a few remaining beams. But those beams lay across the body of an unfortunate guest below. The man had been sleeping soundly. Little did he expect disaster from the heavens. His legs were crushed at once, bones splintered, and he howled in agony. Yikes. You would think if if Guo Jing was practicing the actual manual, he would be far better by now. Yeah, but Ouyang Feng was also practicing the manual. Apparently practicing it in a weird way is still good. Guo Jing could not bear to injure the innocent and dared not press force through his feet, while Ouyang Feng cared nothing for others' lives. Their strength had been evenly matched, but now, with Guo Jing's footing uncertain and no stable leverage beneath him, he began to lose ground. He was using one palm to meet both of Ouyang Feng's, his entire strength focused in his right hand. His left was free, yet drained of power. Hongrong saw her husband's body tilt back a fraction, mere inches, yet a clear sign he was yielding. She called out suddenly, "Hey, Zhangsan Li Si, foolish turtle, take this!" Her words came playfully, and her palm floated lightly forward, tapping at Ouyang Feng's shoulder. Though her palm strike seemed light, it was in fact a high form of the falling blossom divine sword palm. If it landed, its power would penetrate straight through to the inner organs. Even a top master like Ouyang Feng would not escape injury. Hearing her call him again by that strange name, Ouyang Feng was momentarily startled. He suddenly saw her palm arriving, and with both hands thrust forward, he forced Guo Jing's palm strength aside by half a foot. In that flashing instant, his right hand shot out and seized Hongrong by the shoulder. His 5 fingers hooked like iron claws, seeking to tear away a chunk of flesh. The instant his grip landed, all 3 of them cried out in alarm. Ouyang Feng felt a sharp pain at his fingertips. He had caught the barbed spikes of her soft hedgehog armor. Startled, he released her at once. Just then, Guo Jing's palm strength struck again. Ouyang Feng countered, both of them exerting their utmost in desperate urgency. There was a thunderous boom as they staggered backward, walls shaking and dust flying. Each had used pure hard force. In the darkness, unable to see clearly, the mighty powers of the 18 dragon subduing palms and the toad skill struck each other squarely on the shoulder. The two burst through the wall, half the roof collapsing behind them. Hongrong, though protected by her armor and uninjured, had been frightened near senseless. Catching the moment before the roof fell, she leapt clear to safety. When she turned, Ouyang Feng and Guo Jing were standing half a yard apart, rooted like statues, both clearly suffering internal injury. Hongrong had no time to press the attack. She stood by her husband's side to guard him. The 2 men closed their eyes and regulated their breath. After a moment, they each gave 2 choking cries and simultaneously spat blood. Classic. Ouyang Feng gasped. So this is the 18 dragon subduing palms. Ha! Splendid, splendid. Laughing wildly, he turned and strode away, vanishing in an instant. Okay. Good battle. At least no one died. All right. Good time for a break. I'll be right back. 5 minutes. We're back. Didn't realize the song was so short. All right. By now, the inn was in chaos, the guests screaming and shouting. Knowing they could no longer remain, Hongrong took her daughter from Kujanu and said, Master, you carry brother Jing. We must leave at once. Kujanu hoisted Guojing onto his shoulder and limped northward. After some distance, Hongrong suddenly remembered young Guo. She did not know if the boy had managed to flee, but seeing her husband's grave condition, she could only set that worry aside for later. Guojing understood what was happening, but Ouyang Feng's inner force had sealed his breath and left him speechless. On Kujanu's shoulder, he slowly regulated his breathing and circulated his energy. Not going to pay for the damage? Nope. Got to get out of here really quick before they ask for payment. After 7 or 8 li, his meridians cleared. Elder Master, I'm all right now, he said. Kujanu set him down and asked, Are you well? Guojing shook his head. That toad skill truly lives up to its name. He turned and saw his daughter asleep upon her mother's shoulder, then suddenly asked, Where's Guo? Kujanu, momentarily confused, could not recall who Guo was. Hongrong said, Don't worry. Let's find somewhere to rest first. I'll go back for him. It's Huang Rong. We should be happy she didn't hold anyone hostage or something. True. The dawn was lifting. Trees and houses by the roadside were faintly visible. Guo Jing said, "My wounds aren't serious. Let's go find him together." Huang Rong frowned. "That child's quick-witted enough. No need to fret over him." As she spoke, a small head poked out from behind a white wall by the road, then quickly pulled back. Huang Rong darted forward and seized it. It was Yang Guo. Huh, he's fine. He grinned and called, "Auntie, you just got here? I've been waiting for ages." Huang Rong, filled with unresolved suspicions, only replied casually, "All right, come along with us." Yang Guo smiled and followed behind. Guo Fu opened her eyes and asked, "Where did you go?" Yang Guo said, "I went to catch crickets to make them fight. So much fun." Guo Fu sniffed. What's fun about that?" Yang Guo retorted, "Who says it isn't fun? A big cricket fought an old one. The old cricket lost, then two smaller ones jumped in to help. 3 against 1. The big cricket hopped and left and right, kicking here, biting there. That was fierce." He stopped suddenly. "Not cool, Yang Guo." Guo Fu stared at him and asked, "And then what happened?" Yang Guo said, "You said it wasn't fun. Why ask me?" Guo Fu rebuffed, flushed with anger, and turned away without answering. Huang Rong caught the underlying meaning of his words. He was clearly mocking her husband, Master Ke, and herself by siding with Ouyang Feng. "Tell Auntie," she said sharply, "who won in the end?" Yang Guo only smiled and said lightly, "I was just watching when you all showed up, and the crickets scattered." Huang Rong thought, truly, like father like son, and could not help feeling a surge of irritation. As they spoke, the group came upon a small village. Huang Rong approached the gate of a large household to request shelter. The master of the house proved hospitable. Hearing that some travelers were injured and ill, he immediately ordered the servants to clean a side room for them. Guo Jing ate 3 large bowls of rice, then sat cross-legged on the couch with his eyes closed to rest. Seeing that her husband's breathing was calm and even, Huang Rong knew the danger had passed. She sat beside him to stand watch and, thinking back on her encounters with Yang Guo, found the boy full of strange and puzzling behavior. Yet, if she were to question him in detail, he would surely not tell the truth. Better to stay alert and watch what he does, she decided. That night they spoke little. After supper, everyone retired to their rooms. Yang Guo shared a room with Ku Jian'e. Around midnight, he quietly rose from bed and listened. The old man's snoring filled the room, deep and steady. Yang Guo opened the door and slipped outside. Reaching the courtyard wall, he climbed a sweet osmanthus tree and leapt up to the top of the wall, sliding lightly to the far side. 2 dogs caught his scent and began to bark furiously. Yang Guo was ready for this. From his bosom, he drew 2 meat bones he had hidden earlier that day and tossed them over. The dogs immediately fell silent, gnawing at the bones. Orienting himself, Yang Guo set off southwest. After about 7 or 8 li, he arrived before the Temple of the Iron Spear. Pushing open the door, he called, "Father, I'm here!" A faint grunt sounded from within. It was Ouyang Feng's voice. Overjoyed, Yang Guo felt his way to the altar, found a candlestick, and lit a stub of candle. Ouyang Feng lay on several meditation mats before the idol, his face pale, breath weak. Oh, he's hurt. He was wounded in much the same way as Guo Jing, but while Guo Jing's body was still young and vigorous and had recovered quickly, Ouyang Feng's age left him far slower to regain his strength. That night, when Yang Guo and Ku Jian'e had shared their room at the inn, Ouyang Feng had secretly come to see him. Kujanu awoke at once, and they fought. Then Hongrong and Guojing each joined in succession, while young Guo watched silently from the side. At last, Ouyangfeng and Guojing had both been injured, and the former fled. Seeing that in the confusion no one noticed him, young Guo quietly followed. At first, Ouyangfeng moved swiftly, far too fast for him to catch. But as the older man's wounds worsened, his pace faltered. Young Guo finally caught up and helped him rest by the roadside. Knowing that if he did not return, Hong Rong and the others would certainly search for him and might incidentally bring harm to his foster father, he had arranged with Ouyangfeng to meet later at the Temple of the Iron Spear. That place bore deep ties to them both, known well between them. So young Guo had waited near the main road until he met again with Guo Jing's group, and only now, in the dead of night, came stealthily to the temple. From his robe, young Guo drew 7 or 8 steamed buns and placed them in Ouyangfeng's hands. "Father, eat," he said. Having gone hungry all day, fearful that stepping outside might expose him to his enemies, Ouyangfeng had hidden here and endured. After devouring several buns, he lifted his spirits and asked, "Where are they?" Young Guo recounted everything in detail. Ouyangfeng said, "That fellow Guo took a full palm from me. He won't recover in less than 7 days. His wife will be too busy tending him to stray far. For now, we need only worry about that blind old crow. If he doesn't show up tonight, he'll surely come tomorrow. Too bad I have no strength left. Ha! I think I might have killed some of his brothers. 4, maybe 5. He broke off into a violent cough. Young Guo sat on the floor with his chin resting on his hand, thoughts spinning. "I've got it," he realized suddenly. "I'll set a few traps. If that blind old man comes inside, he'll taste some pain first." He took 4 candlesticks from the altar, pulled out the dusty, half-burnt candles, and placed the holders at the doorway. He left the temple door slightly ajar, then moved a heavy iron incense burner and climbed up to set it atop the lintel. Next, he looked around for more ways to strengthen his traps. On the side halls to the east and west hung 2 enormous iron bells, each so wide that 3 men would struggle to encircle it. Surely weighing over 1,000 caddies, each bell was looped at the top by a thick iron hook attached to a large wooden frame. Though the temple was long neglected and crumbling, the bells and their frames remained solid and intact. If that old blind man comes in, young Guo thought, I'll climb up onto the bell frame. Let's see how he finds me then. He held a candlestick in hand and was about to go to the rear hall to look for a weapon when suddenly came the thud, thud, thud sound of an iron staff striking the ground on the main road outside. Man, everyone can hear when this guy comes, huh? He knew at once that Ku Jan-e had arrived. Quickly, he blew out the flame, but then thought, the blind old man can't see anyway. What need have I to hide the light? The tapping drew nearer and nearer. Ouyangfeng suddenly sat up, gathering all the strength left in his body to his right palm, determined to strike first and kill his enemy with a single blow. Young Guo turned the iron spike of his candlestick outward and stood guard by Ouyangfeng's side. My skills are meager, he thought, but even if I die, I'll help my foster father fight this old blind man. Ku Jan-e had long reasoned that Ouyangfeng, gravely wounded, couldn't have gone far. The temple of the Iron Spear was nearby, once one of Ouyangfeng's old haunts. Surely he wouldn't dare seek lodging among villagers, and would hide within the temple instead. Remembering how his 5 sworn brothers had perished under that villain's poison, he now had at last the chance for vengeance. How could he let it pass? Awakening in the middle of the night, he called softly twice. Gwr! Gwr! Hearing no reply, he assumed the boy slept soundly and didn't bother to check. He climbed the wall and went out. The 2 dogs, still gnawing on the bones young Guo had thrown them, only whined a few times but did not bark. He came slowly before the temple of the iron spear and listened. Sure enough, faint breathing came from inside. Raising his voice, he shouted, Old poisonous demon! Ke the blind has come for you. If you've got any guts, come out and die. As he spoke, his iron staff struck the ground with a heavy clang. Ouyang Feng, afraid of letting his inner energy leak away, dared not respond. Kujanu called a few more times, but when there was still no answer, he thrust his staff against the gate. It burst open, and he stepped inside. Suddenly, something heavy crashed down from above. At the same instant, his left foot pierced through the sole of his boot onto the sharp spike of a candlestick. Agonizing pain shot through his soul. Startled and confused, he swung up his staff, striking with a deafening clang. Sparks flew as he knocked the fallen incense burner aside, then rolled swiftly on the ground to get his foot clear before the iron spike could pierce deeper. But more candlesticks lay scattered nearby. A sharp pain flared in his shoulder as another iron spike plunged into his flesh. Jesus. That was a good trap. He seized the candlestick with his left hand and wrenched it out, blood spurting at once. Now he dared not take another step carelessly. Following the sound of Ouyang Feng's breathing, he crept forward, scraping his foot along the floor to feel the way. When he judged he was within 3 feet, he raised his staff high and roared, Old Venom! Have you any last words to say? Really? Is he really in that position to say that? Better than Zhou Botong's poop and pee trap? Yeah. Ouyang Feng had already gathered every drop of strength that remained into his right arm, waiting for the attack. The moment that iron staff descended, he would strike back, trading life for life. Kujanu, though aware his foe was wounded, could not tell how badly. He held his stroke suspended, intending to let the other make the first move. Then he'd know how much energy still remained to him. So they stood locked in place, neither making a sound, neither moving a muscle. Kujanu could hear the man's heavy breathing. In his mind, he seemed to hear the voices of Ju Tong, Han Baoju, Nian Xiren, and the other loyal brothers urging him on. Unable to restrain himself any longer, he gave a great shout, and, with the move King Qin strikes the stone, brought his staff crashing down toward Ouyang Feng's head. The old Venom shifted slightly, meaning to strike back. Is this move just bring the staff up and down? You just give it a really fancy name. The old Venom shifted slightly, meaning to strike back, but his arm only extended half a foot before his breath died in his chest and the limb fell limp. A tremendous boom split the air, sparks flying as the staff shattered several flagstones on the floor. Having missed, Kujanu immediately followed with another strike, sweeping across at mid-height. On any ordinary day, Ouyang Feng would only need a gentle tug to wrench the staff from his hand, or at least leap lightly aside. But now his whole body was weak, lacking all strength. He could only roll away on the ground to dodge. Kujanu pressed in with his demon-subduing staff technique, each move faster than the last. Ouyang grew slower and slower, and at last a strike landed. The move staff overwhelms the yaksha, crashing onto his left shoulder. Listening from the side, young Guo's heart pounded wildly. He longed to run forward to help his foster father, but he knew his own skills were pitiful, and that he could only die in vain. Kujanu struck twice more, both blows landing on Ouyang body. This, Ouyang knew, was retribution at last. Yet his inner strength ran deep. Though incapable of counterattack, he managed to twist aside at each impact, diverting the worst of the power. His flesh was torn and his skin split open, but his bones and organs remained intact. Secretly, Kujanu marveled. So the old venom skill truly is extraordinary. He clearly struck squarely again and again, yet each time the strength seemed to glide off, as though the man's body were coated in oil. 1 out of 10 parts force, 9 dissolved before landing true. Well, he thought grimly, let's see him make his skull slippery too. He gathered his energy, his staffs whistling through the air as he aimed strike after strike at Ouyang head. Ouyang dodged several times, but before long his body was caught within the sweeping wind of the staff. Despair crept into his heart. If that iron staff struck his head even once, his life would surely end. Desperate, he took a reckless gamble, darting forward to throw himself into Kujanu's arms and clutching tightly at his chest. Startled, Kujanu tried to pull back, but his staff was positioned outward and useless at such a close range, so he reached out to grapple. The two tumbled together to the ground. Ouyang dared not loosen his grip. He held fast to Kujanu's chest, his left hand groping down at the man's waist. His fingers brushed something hard, and he grasped it quickly. It was a short, sharp knife. This was the slaughtering knife often used by Zhang Asheng. Though named a butcher's knife, it was no mundane tool. Its edge could sever gold or jade. After Zhang Asheng had fallen to Qin Xuanfeng in the Mongolian desert, Kujanu had carried his brother's blade ever since, never letting it leave his side. Now, locked in close combat, Ouyang wrenched the knife free, swept his left arm around, and stabbed toward his opponent's side. At that very instant, Kujanu had released his staff and swung his right fist out with a crash that sent Ouyang rolling over headlong. Stars flashed before his eyes, and half-stunned, he flung the knife blindly in retaliation. Kujanu heard the whistle of steel and twisted aside. A metallic clang rang out, followed by a long, humming tone. It had struck the great iron bell hanging in the hall. The throw had little strength behind it, but the edge was so keen that it pierced deep into the bell, leaving the blade quivering and ringing. Standing beside the bell, young Guo felt the knife skim past his face, a hair's breadth from his cheek. His heart thudded wildly in panic, and he clambered hastily up onto the bell frame. In that moment, Ouyang mind flashed with a plan, and he crept behind the bell. The tolling sound still trembled through the hall, masking his movements. Kujanu tilted his head, listening hard. Moonlight slanted in through the windows. His wild hair hung loose, staff poised as he strained for every sound. An eerie, fearsome sight. Young Guo saw the peril, seized the slaughtering knife still quivering in the bell, and struck its handle heavily against the metal. With a clang, the peal drowned out the sound of both men's breathing. Hearing the impact, Kujanu lunged forward, but Ouyang had already circled to the back. Kujanu swept his staff sideways, a miss, striking the bell again with a thunderous roar that made the entire hall tremble. Young Guo's eardrums ached with the vibration. Seized by fury, Kujanu continued to pound the bell madly, Each stroke followed before the last echo faded, the sound growing louder and louder. Ouyang Feng grimaced. This won't do. At this noise, even if Guo Jing is wounded, Huang Rong will surely come to investigate. Taking advantage of the din, he moved lightly toward the rear hall, hoping to slip away. Yet Kujanu's hearing was uncannily sharp. Even amid the deafening clamor of the bell, he caught the faint rustle of movement. Pretending not to notice, he kept striking as before. When Ouyang Feng had taken several steps and drawn a little distance, Kujanu suddenly leapt forward, his staff swinging down toward his foe's head. Though weakened, Ouyang Feng had faced more battles in his life than he could count. These feints and deceptions of combat were second nature to him. Seeing the slight lift of Kujanu's shoulder, he read the attack before it came. Without waiting for the staff to fall, he slipped again behind the bell. His body was battered and stiff, yet, at this critical moment of life and death, he drew on some hidden reserve of strength from the depths of decades of cultivated power. Kujanu shouted in anger. Even if I can't beat you to death, I'll wear you to death. He charged after him around the bell. Seeing the two men circling the iron bell, young Guo realized that if this went on much longer, his foster father's strength would surely fail. As danger closed in, an idea sparked in his mind. Is Kujanu gonna die? From atop the bell frame, he waved both arms frantically, signaling in wide gestures. Ouyang Feng, fully absorbed in evading his pursuer, did not notice at first. Only after circling twice more did he glimpse young Guo's shadow on the floor, gesturing for him to leave. Not fully understanding the meaning, but trusting the boy's intent, he resolved to take the risk and dash for the exit. Kujanu halted, straining to distinguish where his enemy's footsteps led. At that moment, young Guo pulled off his shoes and flung them toward the rear hall. A soft pat-pat as they hit the ground echoed faintly. Startled, Kujanu frowned. I clearly heard Ouyang Feng head for the front door. And what is that noise behind? His brief moment of doubt was all young Guo needed. Grabbing the slaughtering knife, he struck with all his might at the wooden crossbeam from which the bell hung. The beam was thick and solid, and though the blade was razor sharp, his own strength was small. Hacking rapidly several times, he could not cut it through. But the great bell was massive, and the repeated blows bit deep notches into the timber. The beam began to creak under the strain. With a final series of loud crack, 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 the beam split, and the enormous iron bell, propelled by its own weight in a rush of air, came crashing straight down toward Kujanu's head. Kujanu had already heard a sudden noise above his head and was just wondering what it was when the massive bell came crashing down. There was no time to flee. In desperate haste, he thrust his iron staff straight upward. With a thunderous clang, the rim of the bell struck against the staff. That single block gave him just enough time to roll clear from beneath it. Well, nice escape. Then came a rapid series of crashes. Ka, pung, pung, hong, as the staff snapped in two, and the bell rolled forward, slamming violently into his shoulder. The force flung him outside the temple gate, where he tumbled several times across the ground. Blood flowed from his nose, and a gash split his brow. Blind as he was, he could not tell what had happened, only imagining that some demon or spirit was hiding in the hall. Trembling, he stood, limping away on unsteady legs. How could Kujanu can hear the rustle of clothes, but can't hear a kid hacking away at a world for half a minute? All right. All right, sorry. Hmm. The force flung him outside the temple gate, where he tumbled several times across the ground. Blood flowed from his nose, and a gash split his brow. Blind as he was, he could not tell what had happened, only imagining that some demon or spirit was hiding in the hall. Trembling, he stood, limping away on unsteady legs. Wood? Yeah, I guess. Ouyang Feng, watching from the side, could not help a tremor of awe. Pity. What a pity, he muttered. Then he called, Good boy. So clever. Young Guo climbed down from the bell frame, his face alight. That blind old man won't dare come back now. Yeah, I've always thought that if you're blind, if someone um makes a lot of noise, then you're just confused, right? You don't know where everything is. That's bad for you. Ouyang Feng shook his head. The grudge between him and me is as deep as the sea. So long as he draws breath, he will return. Then let's run, quickly, young Guo urged. Again, Ouyang Feng shook his head. My injuries are too severe. I can't get far. But he could hear Ouyang even with the bell. Yeah, I think that's unrealistic. The danger had passed, for now, but his limbs and bones felt as if they were falling apart. He truly could not move another step. What shall we do then? The boy cried. After thinking silently for a while, Ouyang Feng said, There is a way. Cut through the beam of that other bell and cover me beneath it. Yang Guo stared. But how will you get out? I'll cultivate my energy beneath the bell for 7 days, said Ouyang Feng. When my strength returns, I'll lift it myself. During those 7 days, even if that blind fellow comes again for revenge, his pitiful skill won't be enough to move such a heavy bell. As long as that girl Huang Rong doesn't come, no one will suspect. But if she does, then all will be lost. Damn, what if he's hiding in there and then someone just rings the bell? Seeing no better plan, young Guo asked carefully to be sure his foster father could truly raise the bell without help. He also asked, You'll have nothing to eat for 7 days. Can you manage it? Ouyang Feng replied, Go fetch a bowl and fill it with fresh water to set beside me. There are still a few buns left here. I'll eat them slowly, enough to last the 7 days. Young Guo went to the kitchen and found a clay bowl, filled it with water, and placed it beneath the other great bell. Then he helped Ouyang Feng sit upright under it. Ouyang Feng said, My child, go with that Guo family for now. I will come find you again. Young Guo nodded, climbed up, and struck at the beam. With a rumble, the huge bell came down and enclosed Ouyang Feng within. All right. Young Guo called several times, Father! But there was no reply. He knew the man inside could no longer hear him. He was about to leave when a passing thought made him stop. Going again to the rear hall, he fetched another clay bowl, filled it with water, and set it on the ground. Then he turned his body upside down, resting one arm, and dipped his left hand into the bowl. Following the reversed meridian technique that Ouyang Feng had taught him, he forced out some of the poisoned blood from his veins. The process was exhausting, and his skill shallow, though he managed to squeeze out only a dozen drops of black blood. Sweat drenched his forehead. After resting, he tore down several hanging cloth banners from before the idol, wrapped them around a bamboo tally tube, dipped it into the bloody water, and smeared the mixture all over the surface of the bell. If that blind old man comes back and tries to pry the bell open, he thought, his hands will touch the poison. He'll have no escape. Suddenly, he realized that his foster father might suffocate inside. Hastily, he used a sharp knife to dig beneath the edge of the bell, prying up the blue bricks until he had opened a fist-sized hole for air to flow through. As he dug, the knife struck a hard stone underneath with a loud crack, snapping the blade clean in two. The slaughtering knife was razor sharp, but its edge was thin. Treated as a chisel by young Guo's careless digging, the treasured weapon was thus destroyed. He had no idea of its value. Since it wasn't his anyway, he thought nothing of tossing it aside. Leaning down close to the opening, he called softly, "Father, I'm going now. Come for me soon. There's poison on the bell's surface. Be careful when you come out." He pressed his ear to the hole and heard Ouyang faint voice answer, "Good child, I fear no poison. Poison fears me. Take care of yourself. I will come for you." Young Guo stood silently for a while, reluctant to part. Before turning to leave, he hurried back toward the inn, climbing the wall in fear that Kujanu might have returned and catch him. But when he crept into the room, he saw that the blind man had not yet come back, and that surprise filled him most of all. Early the next morning, the sound of someone pounding on the door with a stick echoed through the room. Young Guo leapt out of bed and opened the door, only to see Kujanu standing there, gripping a wooden staff. His face was ashen. He took one step inside and collapsed to the floor. Young Guo saw that his hands were pitch black. He must have gone in search of Ouyang again, and as expected had fallen victim to the poison Young Guo himself had laid. Oh, this guy is great at making traps, isn't he? Inwardly delighted, he pretended to be startled and cried out, "Grandfather Ke, what happened to you?" Man, like father, like son, huh? Guo Jing and Hong Rong, hearing the commotion, rushed over. When they saw Kujanu lying on the ground, they were alarmed. Though Guo Jing could stand and walk, he was still weak. So it was Hong Rong who helped Kujanu onto the bed, asking, "Master, what's wrong?" Kujanu shook his head without replying. Seeing the darkened hue of his palms, Hong Rong said furiously, "It's that wretched woman surnamed Li again. Brother Jing, let me deal with her." She tightened her belt and strode toward the door. "Not that woman," Kujanu said faintly. Hong Rong stopped and turned back in surprise. "Oh? Then who?" Kujanu felt humiliated that even a defenseless person had managed to harm him, leaving him injured and returning in disgrace. His temper was hard as forged iron, old ginger still the spiciest of all, and he refused to utter a word about how he had been hurt. Guo Jing and Hong Rong knew his nature well. If he wished to speak, he would. Pressing him would only make him angrier. Fortunately, the poison was only skin deep and not severe. He had merely fainted under its effect. After taking a 9-flower jade dew pill, he was largely recovered. Hong Rong considered their situation carefully. With both Guo Jing and Kujanu injured, and Li Mo Cho unpredictable in her cruelty, it would be safest to send the wounded and the children back to Peach Blossom Island first, and only then deal with Li Mo Cho. That morning they rested at the inn, and in the afternoon hired a boat heading east. Young Guo, seeing that Huang Rong did not pursue Ouyang Feng, felt secretly pleased. He mused, Father is terribly afraid of Auntie Guo coming after him. Could it be that this delicate beauty is even more formidable than blind Ke? After half a day of sailing, dusk began to fall. The boat moored by the shore while the boatman washed rice and started cooking. Guo Fu, annoyed and bored because young Guo ignored her, leaned on the cabin window, staring outside. Under a willow tree, she suddenly saw two little boys crying pitifully. It was the Wu brothers, Dundru and Xu Wen. Hey, what are you two doing? She called. Wu Xiuwen turned, tears streaming down his face. We're crying, don't you see? What for? Did your mother hit you? Guo Fu asked. Our mother's dead. Wu Xiuwen sobbed. Oh, so sad. Hong Rong overheard that and started, leaping ashore. She found the two boys clutching their mother's corpse, weeping inconsolably. Wu Sanyang's face was blackened. She had been dead for some time. Ooh, she dead, guys. When Hong Rong asked about Wu Santong's whereabouts, Wu Dunru wept. We don't know where father went, Wu Xiuwen choked out. Mother sucked the poison from father's wound. She drew out a lot of black blood. Father got better, but mother died. Oof. When father saw she was dead, he suddenly went mad again. We called to him, but he didn't answer. He just walked away. He broke into fresh sobs. Hong Rong thought sorrowfully. Madame Wu gave her life to save her husband, a truly noble and righteous woman. She asked gently. You must be hungry, aren't you? The two boys nodded, tears still falling. With a sigh, Hong Rong ordered the boatman to bring them aboard for a meal. She then went into town to buy a coffin and laid Madame Wu to rest. It was too late to bury her that evening, so the next morning a plot of land was purchased, and the coffin was buried. The two brothers knelt before the grave, crying bitterly. Guo Jing said, Rong these poor children have lost both their parents. Let us take them to Peach Blossom Island. You'll have to look after them. Hong Rong nodded in agreement. She comforted the grieving boys. Yeah, Guo Jing isn't going to look after them. She would have to. She comforted the grieving boys, brought them aboard once more, and the boat sailed to the seaside. There they hired a larger vessel and continued eastward toward Peach Blossom Island. All right. How did you guys like that? Okay, so young Guo is kind of exactly like his father. Why can't Guo Jing look after them? Yeah, that's what I said. Maybe he needs to go do his job. Whatever his job is. What did they do? What did they do day to day? I wonder. Does he just train the entire day? Can any child of young Kang really be a good guy? So young Guo is the... I'm assuming he's the main character, right? Or am I wrong? It's starting to sound like he's not a very good person. But you know what? I'm still sticking to it. Maybe he is the main character. He's going to redeem himself, guys. He hasn't killed anybody yet. Moon Yansu is a good person, though. Yeah. She was too good. He was kind of slow in noticing how bad of a guy Young Kang was. They just sit around waiting for something crazy to happen. Yeah, what do they do all day? If Guo and Huang Rong's kid didn't bully him, maybe the whole story would have gone differently. Maybe. He was kind of okay just poisoning the Kujanur, right? What if he died? I wonder how young Guo would react. Mm-hmm. All right. Cheers. All right. So I think I'm still sticking to it. I think he's still the main character. He'll be redeemed. He'll be better. At the moment, he's worse than Guofu. Okay, she's annoying. She's a little brat, but at least like she's not going around poisoning people. All right, guys, that was fun. Had some fighting. Okay, Kuchanu still alive. He's gonna die at some point, right? But at the moment, he's still alive. All right. Well, thanks for joining, guys. I love you. I'll see you next time. All right, bye.